Vanderbilt is in the books, but Auburn has to get ready for Mercer after a bye week. What does DJ Durkin have to do to get his team focused for the next game? Welcome on into the Auburn Express, powered by the War Report. I'm your host, Mike G. Turn us on, turn us up. We'll turn it out. I'm here with my good friend Kyle Rush from the Barn to talk a little Auburn football here on a Tuesday morning. Kyle, I haven't gotten your thoughts yet on the game this weekend. We had post games, we had Sunday shows, we had a lot of discourse around Auburn's offense. The offense looked drastically different on Saturday versus Vanderbilt. We saw them do some things that we have not seen them do all year long. I was clipping the game, and Caesar's mic was coming through the highlights as I was clipping it and realized it.
Yeah.
And
I think I saw that.
He's a fan. He goes, a slant. Some white quote tweeted it and said, that is all of us right now. Look, Auburn had 200-yard receivers, a 300-yard passer, and a 100-yard rusher. Could have had 200-yard rushers if not for a hold by Preston Howard. It was drastically different. I posed the question last week, what if you remove Hugh from the equation and this looks completely different? A lot of people ask me, what does a Derek Nix offense look like? I said the problem with that question is we don't know the answer to that. Because I was confident in reporting that Derek Nix wasn't calling plays. A lot of people were like, Mike G, why aren't you're calling for Hugh's job and Jake Norton's job? You're not calling for Derek Nix's job. I'm like, he coaches running backs and he's not calling plays. Why would I call for his job? Well, he called it. And no mistake, DJ Durkin was clear. He would call plays and he would not meddle. Talk to me, man, about what you saw on Saturday before we talk about, what Auburn has to do during this bye week. Are you shocked that it looked so differently on Saturday?
I went through like every emotion you could possibly go through, like confusion, anger, happiness, sadness. Like I went through it all. Like, it's remarkable. It really is remarkable to look at what happened in a week. I don't know that there's evidence you can point to show where Derek Nix has ever called plays on his own. And he just this is per Bo Wallace, who reached out to me after the game. That is classic Hugh Freeze offense. RPO, tempo, half field reads. When you got a quarterback you're a little bit unsure of, giving him the full range, half field reads, going fast and spreading them out and going with tempo, man. That is classic Hugh Freeze offense. And we never saw classic Hugh Freeze offense, I guess. Maybe since Hugh was here. Like, that blows me away. That blows me away that it was that simple. Ashton was phenomenal. I was so proud of him and everything that he did. The poise, accuracy. I think accuracy was something that people were –
ball placement, yeah.
Yeah, ball placement. Accuracy was something that you worried about with him, and he was, for the most part, on the money all night long. It was just it's a head-scratcher in a good way, I guess, about how you could flip it that easily by removing the guy that's supposed to be the orchestrator of this whole thing. Like, you took him out of the equation and immediately your offense explodes. It was crazy.
I argue about this a lot. I have been saying all season, I don't think the talent is as much of the problem as it was being said. People were talking about the line and they were talking about this. And I was like, no, man, I think the system sucks. And I think
the version of the system that we were seeing sucked.
Yes, for sure. Right. Because let's be honest, they didn't install a whole new offense in 1 week.
No, they didn't.
No, right. You just dialed it up differently. You asked your quarterback to do some different things. You asked your receivers to do some different things. And Kyle, you just threw Cam Coleman the damn ball. I've been saying this about Ryan. Like, look, at Alabama, they're just throwing Ryan Williams the ball. They're not going through all this stuff and say, oh, well, we don't want to force it. No, you got Cam Coleman, just throw him the ball. And DJ Durkin said he's one of the best players in the country. And we, as a coaching staff, we said we need to get him the ball. And we did that.
On more than just comeback routes. Like, yeah, you still ran a lot of the vertical stuff because that's what Cam is best at. But he caught passes. I mean, he had 11 catches. I mean, he caught passes over the middle to move the chains. He did a little bit of everything. Like, you got him the ball behind. I think there was a couple where you got him the ball behind the line of scrimmage to let him Didn't get huge gains, but just try to get him. He's good after the catch too. Like he can make the first guy miss. Yeah, I mean, you just got your playmakers the ball. 11 catches and 10 catches, 21 receptions between the two guys you're paying over $1 million for. Like that's kind of what you expected all year. And it's just, again, I'm just so blown away that that's what it took. That's what it took to, and you could do it that quickly. It just a wide array of emotions.
But before we move on to Mercer prep, are you bitter at Hugh a little after seeing that? Does it make you a little bitter at Hugh?
I think so. Mostly not that like he has any loyalty to me, but I think I was pretty adamant that was the right move for us. And to me, there's a huge difference in like somebody not working out and then like it seeming like, I hate to say this is really, really harsh, but seemingly not really even trying. Like if he was trying and it didn't work, that'd be one thing. I could get over that. But when you just take him out and put a guy in that's just worked for him, and then you hear people talk about that's actually the offense that he's run his whole career. Like that's how he's handled quarterbacks his whole career. And that's why there's been success. And then we couldn't do that. Like that makes me a little bit angry. I'm not going to lie. Like kind of feel like you're
we got cheated,
sort of stabbed in the back, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Look, I know you advocated for Hugh when he got the job. There were a lot of people who did. I was not on the Hugh Freeze train during the hiring process, but once he's the coach, as a fan, I'm all in support, right?
Sure.
Like, once he's here, I'm rooting for his success. So I did not want to be right about my initial feelings about him. But here we are, and Auburn has to move forward. So let's talk about Mercer. You've got a bye week coming here, and you've got to get ready. On yesterday's show, we dealt with the idea that Auburn should probably sit Ashton Daniels to save his red shirt. Is it fair to him to burn his red shirt in a year like this? But the other side of that coin is you got to play somebody. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. Do you play Ashton or do you play Deuce if Ashton sits? And what is the best thing for the long term of this team? Should Auburn be done with Jackson Arnold? Should you be moving on from Jackson Arnold at this point, right? Have you seen enough from him that you realize he's not going to be the quarterback here? And you go out, you find a young freshman in recruiting, and then you move forward with Ashton Daniels, maybe. And in this hypothetical, DJ Durkin is the coach next year, by the way.
Sure.
Right? Like, in this hypothetical, DJ Durkin is the coach next year, and Ashton maybe takes the reins. Deuce still has 4 years to play going into next year. And you start to create a pipeline at quarterback. What do you think about whether Deuce or Jackson starts versus Mercer?
To me, if you don't start Ashton, it's a no-brainer. You start Deuce, and I can see the I guess the argument for both sides. I think obviously if you want to preserve the red shirt, I think on the human side, you owe it to him to give him the red shirt if he wants it. And if that's the case, to me, there's no question you go with Deuce. I don't think you can. You mentioned earlier that there wasn't a talent issue, and I agree with that about 95%. There's a pretty strong 5%, in my opinion, that there's some things with Jackson that aren't really fixable with play calling.
Okay,
and that's why I think DJ rolled with Ashton. In 1 week, like it wasn't, we're going to have a battle, we're going to have a competition. He said Ashton gives us the best chance to win. And I agree with that. So if you sit him against Mercer, which I would have predicted they would do, there is no question you go with Deuce. Now, to me, the discussion is around if, does that give you the best chance to beat Alabama? I think that's a fun discussion to have. If you take the human aspect of it and you go selfish, hey, this is a selfish game now. Like everybody's looking out for their self. You know what I mean? So does that give you the best chance to beat Alabama? Is sitting Ashton for essentially 3 weeks? I don't know. I think that's a fun discussion though.
Yeah, I think he's an experienced guy. People forget how much football he played before he came to Auburn. I think it's one of the reasons that he was able to actually step in versus Vanderbilt and look as good as he did, essentially just right off the bench with a week of prep. But also he got a chance to prepare as the starter that week. I was told they announced that he was going to be the starter on Wednesday, but they decided pretty early in the week that they were going to go with Ashton Daniels. The fact that they were able to make that decision to Kyle before we move on, like so early in the week, tells me that it confirmed some reports that I was getting that there was some dissent on that offensive staff about how quarterback has been managed. Number one, there were a lot of guys on that staff that did not like that they handed Jackson the job just before he even touched down on the plains. They didn't like that. They didn't like that they didn't run a true QB competition this spring. And I think we can now say in hindsight that was much to the detriment of this team, that there wasn't at least some consideration given to that the other guy could be better.
Yeah.
And so I'm not totally convinced that we wouldn't have seen a better version of Jackson Arnold under this play calling. That's just me.
Yeah. I totally understand that argument.
Yeah. I'm not in the Jackson is a scrub.
I don't think he's a scrub either.
Yeah.
I think he has a lot of tools. There are some mental aspects of the game that he has to fix. I don't know how you fix it. There's some to me, it's not physical with him. It's mental and it's consistent among like three staffs now, like three different coaching styles that he's played for. It's been the same type of issues, the holding the ball too long, taking sacks, not being able to pull the trigger, stuff like that. So if he can get that fixed, I think he can be a pretty good quarterback. I think he maybe need to step down in level of play and kind of work his way back up.
We're going to get to the break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about Mercer Prep and where Auburn goes from here. DJ Durkin is the interim head coach. He's got some things to do the next few weeks. Can he get all the things accomplished that he needs to get accomplished to not only get Auburn to a winning place, but maybe even make a case to be Auburn's next head coach? We'll talk about that next, right after our quick word from our sponsors, our friends at Abel's Iron Moore and Associates. When it comes to your money, trust matters. Abel's Iron Moore and Associates is a fiduciary, which means they're legally required to put your best interest first. That's not just a promise, it's the law. No hidden agendas, no sales pitches, just investment advice you can rely on. With over 20 years of experience helping clients grow and protect their wealth, they provide disciplined investment management and guidance tailored to your goals. You get clarity, confidence, and a team committed to helping your money work as hard as you do. Call AIMA at 912-777-4128 or visit AIMAINC.com. Fiduciary fee only, focused on you. The War Report has been compensated by Abel's Iron Moore and Associates for this endorsement. Abel's Iron Moore and Associates is a SEC registered investment advisor. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training. I want to thank our friends at Sky Tobacco and Vape. Ever run out of vape juice at 10 p.m. and think, well, I guess I'm just going to suffer? Nah, not with Sky Tobacco and Vape. These guys have more locations than the Waffle House, Columbus, Phoenix City. They're everywhere. Whether you're on the thruway, the bypass, or just lost with bad directions, Sky Tobacco and Vape is probably right around the corner from where you're at. They've got vapes, tobaccos, and deals so good you'll swear they misprinted the price tags. Sky Tobacco and Vape, good vibes, great deals, and zero judgment if you walk in wearing your pajama pants. I want to thank our friends at the Vibe Vault. You can find them at 3462 Crosswinds Road, Suite E in Phoenix City, Alabama. If you're in the Columbus, Phoenix City area and you're looking to get fresh for the weekend, visit the Vibe Vault. Right across the street from Chattahoochee Valley Community College on Highway 431, next to the Renfro Supermarket and the Marco's Pizza. The Vibe Vault, not just barbers, lifestyle consultants. I want to thank our friends at SetsForSociety.ai. The road to knowing self starts at Sets for Society. They have custom personality assessments that let you know a little bit more about how you think, how those around you think, how you guys can best think together to achieve like goals. We have taken these assessments here at the War Report. They nailed us. It's actually pretty remarkable how it nailed our quirks, our strengths, our weaknesses, and help us communicate better as a company. You should get on this train as well too. Visit SetsForSociety.ai, fill out the form, and they'll reach out and do the rest. We appreciate them for sponsoring this segment. You've got a couple weeks to get ready for Mercer. I think that this bye week could not have come at a better time.
No, I know. There's been some injuries and just time to kind of. I really wish you had this bye week before Vanderbilt. I hated that you had to roll through that whole thing, and I kind of suspect that maybe that was John Cohen's idea, is if you could possibly just get to the bye week, maybe that would be the ideal time to make a change. But obviously that didn't happen. But I'm with you, man. We need a reset. There's been a lot of emotion, a lot of change over the last week. I don't doubt that they're going to be working hard. I think DJ is going to have them working hard this week. and next week, preparing for Mercer and Alabama. I think they're going to be doing both. But yeah, it couldn't have come at a better time.
Yeah, look, Deuce Knight. You got to start Deuce. If you're not starting Ashton, you got to start Deuce.
I completely agree.
I don't think you can roll Jackson Arnold out there. Now, you can win with Jackson and you'll win pretty easily. But if you're DJ Durkin, you have to if there's a chance that you might be the head coach next year, you got to send a message to Deuce that he's the next guy up. I'm telling everything I've heard, he has not been totally happy with how quarterback has been managed, this season. And you got to get him some reps, and you've got 2 weeks to get him ready, man. This is why I think it's a great time for the bye week. Start Deuce. He is ready to go. One of the highest rated QB prospects, if not prospects overall in Auburn history. Give this kid a chance. And, under Derek Nix's play calling, could we see a great version of Deuce? Do we get I don't want to compare him to Jeremy Johnson, but that half that we saw of Jeremy versus Arkansas where we're like, oh my God.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Like, could we get that feeling? Give Auburn fans something to be excited about. I think that if you're DJ Durkin and Deuce goes out there and throws for like 400 yards versus Mercer, you could create some excitement with Derek Nix potentially as your OC to help make the case that you should be the next coach of Auburn football. I see no downside to playing Deuce. You can always pull Jackson off the bench if it's not going well. He's not playing well. What say you, man? I think start Deuce.
Look at it this way. Again, I'll entertain both sides of the argument as far as should you or should you not sit Ashton. But let's say DJ's looking at this thing from a logical standpoint of I'm the guy moving forward. So I'm doing what's best for the team beyond just this week. I'm not looking out for just myself. Let's look at beyond this week, next week, in this season, and what's the future. There is no decision that could check more boxes than starting Deuce. There's no decision that makes more sense than starting Deuce. And if by chance the unthinkable happens and there's a disaster, you can always go to Jackson if need be. But you're talking about creating rapport. Hey, retention is going to be one of the biggest focuses, I would assume, of the next staff, whether that be DJ Durkin and staff or whoever the next coach is. Playing Deuce to me and building that rapport and showing them that you got something here, especially if he goes out and balls out, that's a big selling point for retention as well. And then just the excitement for the fan base, building rapport with the fans. I think that would bring excitement to a not very exciting game. There's so many things that it just checks all the boxes as far as what makes sense as being the right decision.
Yeah, look, Deuce Knight I'm excited. I'm excited to potentially see Deuce. I'm gonna go ahead and call it now. I think they're going to start Deuce.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't think there's another viable decision to be made.
I would be shocked if they didn't.
I'd be shocked if they didn't start Deuce at this point. But I think they're going to sit Ashton. I think they're going to start Deuce
unless they start Ashton. If they start Ashton, I get it. I can get on that. But if they don't start Ashton, I just don't see any scenario where you don't start Deuce.
Yeah, you've got to start to look forward. You've seen enough of Jackson Arnold. Correct. I think you know what he is, and you made the active decision to go with Ashton over Jackson headed into Vanderbilt. So in some ways, they've already signaled a willingness to move on from Jackson Arnold. I don't think you go backwards here. I think you go forward. I think forward is with Deuce Knight, because the John Cohen said this. Remember this. He said that they spent so much money on roster retention that it was to the detriment of 2026 recruiting, actually. They were losing athletes by an average of about $100,000 an athlete, getting outbid because they were trying to adhere to the cap rules and all this stuff. Now, we know all that is kind of out the window now, and Auburn is freewheeling and spending, and they moved the Baylor game to get a bunch of the extra NIL dollars that they might actually end up needing here, Kyle, to keep this roster together. But if you decide to move forward with DJ, again, it's not fair to reset the roster for him. Man, hold this together. Don't undo all the work. I cannot get on board with the people who are just like blow it all up and start over.
Yeah.
Jake Crane had a pretty epic rant, I guess, after the game, talking about Auburn having a loser culture. I respect Jake. He comes on this very show from time to time. I don't agree with him here.
I don't either. And I don't think losing always begets losing. You know what I mean? Like, good coaches can come out of losing programs. And I don't have to look any further than John Summerall. John Summerall he's been a Kentucky guy his whole life. And Kentucky has not necessarily always had the highest amounts of success, but he's a freaking fantastic head coach now. And I believe even Jake Crane has been lobbying for John Summerall. So he left losing and became a winner. Like that can happen. And it happens and it happens quite often. So I think it was like most of us, you're emotional and you hate losing seemingly in the exact same way. Like you're there, you're right there and you can't quite, get it done. I understand that being frustrated, but I don't feel like this is I hate to say this because everybody gets so pissed off when you say it, but I really do think this team's close. I really do think you have it. I really do.
Saturday proved it. I think
Saturday proved it. Like it's only a few pieces away, and maybe that's from leadership, like leadership and structure. You're not that far off. So again, I don't know. I totally understand bringing in somebody new, but I would try to keep as much of this roster intact as possible, no matter who you bring in.
Yeah. And that's what the next 2 weeks has to be about. Like, let's show Cam and Singleton and all these guys that we can get them the ball.
Yeah.
And that's what they did, right? They said Cam's one of the best players in the country, and we just wanted to get him the ball. And
dude, three of his catches were.
It's crazy what he can do when you just throw him the ball, Kyle. Like,
Mike, he couldn't see that ball. The touchdown catch, he couldn't see that ball. He just put his hand where he thought it would be, and he caught it.
Yeah.
He's
ball
incredible.
Instincts, ball skills, ball instincts, things that you cannot teach. They just come naturally to somebody.
You don't get that off a Judd's machine.
Yeah. Well, again, and that's why I can't get on board with the people who are just like blow it up and start over. And who cares about keeping the players? No, you're not going out and finding another Cam Coleman just like that.
Yeah,
you were lucky to get him because of what happened at A&M anyway.
Yeah.
So no, if there's a chance that he stays on the Plains for whoever's the quarterback or the coach, I want to see that. Kyle Rush from the Barn. Well, thank you for joining me on today's show to talk a little Auburn football. Always a great conversation, my friend. Before we get out of here, tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, go over to our YouTube page, The Barn Auburn. We put up our bunch of different content pieces like every single day, or anywhere you get a podcast, The Barn Podcast Network.
Do us a favor, guys. Hit the comment section after the video. Let us know, do you want to see Deuce Knight start versus Mercer? Or do you want to see Jackson Arnold? Or should Ashton just play and Auburn roll with it? Also, let us know, what do you think about DJ Durkin and the decisions that he has to make here in these last 3 weeks? We want to hear from you. And while you're in the comment section, do us a favor, smash that super thanks button. Your financial support helps keep the work that we're doing here going. Please hit like and subscribe. We are the War Report on every social media platform. We are TW Report on TikTok. We're signing off, and as always, War Eagle.